Can ask Brother Kumail to come and deliver his talk today. Thank you. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allah.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'd like to thank Zinat and Muhammad for inviting me for this talk. I remember when Time for Change started about 5 years ago, and look at where we are today, alhamdulillah, with the blessing of Allah, inshallah. So the topic I've chosen today is Every Hardship Whispers of Ease, Finding Light in Life's Darkest Moments, Quranic Reflections on Pain, Faith and Hope. The reason I chose this was because I feel like we don't have spaces, safe spaces where people can freely express how they're feeling or the struggles they're going through. And we get to a place where it's too late and people have to resort to things that we wouldn't want them to resort to. But the work starts much before that, where we create an environment where people feel confident and feel comfortable to come forward to say that they're suffering, they're struggling, and they want someone to help them out of a difficult situation. And I think it starts at the grassroots, because a lot of people judge some people. And because of that judgment, other people feel like they can't be open about what they're going through in case they get judged. And I think that's one myth we need to dispel. And today's lecture, inshallah, will help a little bit towards contributing that, inshallah. So, when we talk about hardship, I wanted to look at the definitions of some of the words we use, because we throw around these words like stress, pain, hardship, difficulty, but what do they all mean? So I went to the Oxford Dictionary and I looked at 5 words, these 5 words that we hear all the time, just to understand what do we mean exactly when we talk about all of these things. Then we can discuss what we mean. So hardship is a harsh, adverse or harassing circumstance, a difficulty especially in respect to one's ability to live comfortably, a privation or a lack. Difficulty is a quality, fact or condition of a thing being hard to deal with or of presenting obstacles to progress. So hardship and difficulty are very closely related. Pain is a state or condition of consciousness arising from mental or physical suffering opposed to pleasure, and pain can be both mental and physical. That's very important for me. It can be both mental and physical. Stress is the overwhelming pressure experienced by someone or something as a result of some adverse force or influence. And finally, anxiety, worry over the future or about something with an uncertain outcome, uneasy concern about a person, situation, etc., a troubled state of mind arising from such worry or concern. And that last line is, I think, what I want to focus on, a troubled state of mind arising from all of these things. People go through difficulties, but when the mind is involved and you go through a spiral, a loop, we get into a dark place, and it's very hard to come out of the dark place. So I want to say, this is my thesis, this is my opinion. You can disagree. When you have a discussion, inshallah, we can disagree if you want. But I think, personally, emotional or mental pain is more painful than physical pain. I would rather experience physical pain. I've run a marathon, I know what physical pain looks like. I'd rather experience physical pain than go through mental or emotional pain. Now, when you come to the Quran, we have a few different words about pain or hardship or difficulties. So we have the word usr, dhur, bala, fitna, huzn. There might be others. We can have a discussion as well if there's others on the list. I'd love to know more. All right, so one of the most famous verses when it comes to difficulties that we will talk about is the verse of Inna Lillah in Surah Al-Baqarah. We all know this verse. So, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. So, bala is the third word used there. وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الْخَوْفِ وَالْجُوعِ. So, all of these things that Allah tests us with: fear, hunger, loss of wealth, lives, fruits, which probably means children. فَبَشِّرِ الصَّابِرِينَ. Give glad tidings to the patient ones. الَّذِينَ إِذَا أَصَابَتْهُمْ مُصِيبَةٌ. Who, when calamity strikes them, قَالُوا إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ. Now, I've highlighted the word noon there. Why do you think that that's important to me? Like, to me, that noon was really important. And it could be a free discussion. Why do you think the noon is important in that verse? At least for me personally, I feel like it was important. So, no, anyone? So, so that's a noon of ta'qeed. It's a noon of emphasis. So, what God is saying is, yes, we'll test you, but not just we'll test you. We will most definitely, most certainly, without a shade of doubt, test you. So, when people say, "Why me?" that's a non-starter, because God is telling you, you will definitely be tested. So there's no point of asking why me, because it is a guarantee. It's not a maybe, probably, it is a definite. That's why to me it was important that noon there. All right, next one. So Surah Al-Ankabut, second and third verse. أَحَسِبَ النَّاسُ أَن يُتْرَكُوا أَن يَقُولُوا آمَنَّا وَهُمْ لَا يُفْتَنُونَ. Do men think that we'll leave them alone saying we believe and not test them? وَلَقَدْ فَتَنَّ الَّذِينَ. So again, the noon comes again to tell us we will most certainly test you. So again, we cannot escape tests. So difficulties are going to be part and parcel of our lives, and it's something we have to accept as our life circumstances. So we shouldn't, we can ask why me, but we should also know that we can't escape difficulties in our lives. All right, okay, so that was just a prelude. Now I want to look at two Quranic case studies on difficulties in life and how we can use those stories to inspire our own lives when we go through certain difficulties in life. So the first case study I want to look at is Prophet Musa. Okay, let's paint the picture. So we all know the story. So Prophet Musa was in Egypt. There was a fight that happened. Prophet Musa went out to help. He punched someone and he killed someone in the process. Then what does he do? He was told that he's going to be killed. So he runs out of Egypt. He goes towards Madian and he stops over. Obviously, he's running through the desert. He's very tired. He's exhausted. He's thirsty. And he stops over under the shade of a tree. And he's looking. And when he's looking at what's happening around, because he's so tired, he looks at some people feeding their animals. And then on the side, he sees two women there, just restraining their animals, trying to stop the animals from going to the water hole. And he sees it's very strange. Why would you stop an animal from feeding in the water? So he goes to the women and asks them, "Ma khatbukum? What is the issue? What's the problem here?" And the women say, "Kana shaykhuna kabirun, abuna shaykhuna kabirun." Our father is very old, and we are waiting for the men to disperse because you know how men are like, and we want to let them finish what they're doing, and then we will go and feed those animals. What does he do? Without saying a word, he picks the animals, takes them, feeds the water to them, brings them back, and then sits under the shade without uttering a single word. He doesn't ask, "Can I take your animals? Should I take them? Would you like me to take them? I'll make it easier for you." He just takes them, brings them back, and then sits under the shade. Now, the question I asked myself was, what emotions is Prophet Musa going through here? So we know that he ran through for his life, and he's here in the middle of a desert, probably thirsty, hungry. There's no Asda or Tesco that he can stop over to buy a meal deal sandwich. So he's probably hungry as well. But what emotion is Prophet Musa going through? Just I need your help here. So anyone? Despair, yeah. Fear, yeah. Anyone else? Lonely, yeah. He's on his own. Any more? Probably a couple more, I think. Probably some physical pain too, right? He's hungry, he's tired, he's physically exhausted, it's hot, there's no water. Well, there's water, but he obviously ran through when there might not have been water everywhere around. He's definitely hungry, for sure. He has no money, no shelter. He doesn't know where to go. So these are all the emotions he's feeling emotionally inside him. So as he's feeling these emotions, as he's going through all of these things, he makes a statement which is so profound, and I think if we think and ponder about this statement, it tells us a lot about his emotional state. So he says, "Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin fakir." My Lord, indeed I am, for whatever good you send me, I am in need, I am fakir, whatever you send me. Because he has nothing at the moment, literally nothing. So he's a literal here. And I want to say that in this statement, what Musa is doing is he's being very vulnerable to God. He's telling God that there's nothing he can do anymore. He has no energy, nothing that can change the situation. Only God can help him. But he has to be vulnerable to tell Allah that whatever, even if any good you send me, whatever it is, he's not asking for something specific. He doesn't know what to ask for because there's so much to ask for that he leaves it very open. But when you read between the lines, he's telling Allah, "Oh Allah, I am poor, hungry, tired, scared, physically exhausted, lonely, uncertain, anxious, jobless, a bachelor with no prospects, and a fugitive escaping a murder charge." He tells Allah all of this without telling him all of this, right? By just this one verse. He's being very vulnerable here. He tells Allah, "I am done. There's nothing I have, there's nothing I can do now. You sort it out." And I think that's, to me, when I read the story of Prophet Musa, is if we go through anxiety in life, if we go through troubles in life, we have to be vulnerable to God, because no one can help us out of these situations except Allah. People can help us to a certain extent, but it's only Allah who will actually take us out of those difficult situations when we are struggling through in life. So yeah, this is the lesson that I learned from Prophet Musa, is to be vulnerable with God when we are struggling in life. Okay, second case study, even more powerful, I think, personally. Okay, let's paint a picture here. So Lady Maryam's in a temple in a remote location, and a young man approaches her. And Maryam's obviously a bit terrified, saying, "Please keep away from me." And he says, "Don't worry, I am an angel from God, giving you glad tidings of a son." And she says, "But no man has ever touched me, so how will I have a child?" And he says, God can do whatever he wishes. And so now she's there. She's feeling the pangs of childbirth. So you can imagine the physical pain she's going through. But then there's an even stronger emotional pain, because she knows when she goes out into society, people will talk. They'll say, "Ma kana abuki imra'ati saw'in sawiya." Your father was of a good lineage, your mother was not an immoral person. What's happened to you? How can you be so careless, reckless, unchaste? They will talk, and she knows that. And for a chaste woman, I think that is probably the worst thing you can do, is to accuse her of something like that. So besides the physical pain, she feels a lot of emotional and mental pain. And I would argue that that pain is worse than the physical pain. If it was just the physical pain, she'd be fine. Okay, what emotions is she going through? Fear, yeah? Lonely, yeah. Anyone else? Yeah, I was looking for that physical pain. Yeah, definitely physical pain. Yeah. I think that's it. Anything else? Yeah. Anxious, anxiety. I think anxiety levels would be really high, stress levels would be really high. Palpitations, all of these things, the physical manifestations of stress would have been present with her. So she says, all of these things, and when the pains of childbirth drove her to the trunk of a palm tree. What does she say? This is so powerful. And for me, this is the proof that sometimes it's okay. It's okay to be so vulnerable that she says, "Ya laytani mittu qabla hadha wa kuntu nasyan mansiya." Oh, I wish I had died before this, and I was in oblivion, forgotten. Nasyan mansiya, completely forgotten, like she never existed. Like the history books would have wiped her name out of history. That's how much she felt. She wished for death. Now, if she was here, what would we say? Astaghfirullah. How can you wish for death, right? Don't you know that God is in charge of all of these things? He will control. Like, are you so ungrateful? He's given you a gift of life. What does God say through Jibreel? He says, "La tahzan," do not grieve. Your Lord has provided beneath you a stream, and shake towards you the trunk of the palm tree. It will drop upon you ripe, fresh dates. God doesn't reprimand her for wishing for death. That's the key thing I want to show here. That even though she is wishing for death, something so wrong in our books, God calms her down. He relaxes her. He says, "La tahzan, don't worry." So sometimes if it's too hard, Just accept it. It is hard. Maryam was going through something so hard, and she wished for death because she said, I can't do this anymore. And sometimes you just have to accept it. It is hard. You can't go through it. It doesn't make us any less of a man or a woman when we become vulnerable and accept that we are struggling. It's okay. It's human. Maryam struggled. She struggled a lot. God does not tell Mary off for wishing for her death because of pain. Instead, he comforts her, like we said, right, through Jibreel. Some say Prophet Isa was the one talking from beneath her, but I think Jibreel sounds to be like the most plausible interpretation. All right, you're never alone. I think that's another key lesson that I learned from this story was that Allah is always there with us. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ. So even though we are struggling, we are going through such a difficult time, God is there. He knows, He understands, He wants to open a way for us. So it's not like we are alone while we are going through these difficulties and we're struggling on our own. Just to bring some humor in, of course, yeah. So like Liverpool's motto, you'll never walk alone, is so true because we are never alone in life. God is always with us. وَهُوَ مَعَكُمْ أَيْنَمَا كُنْتُمْ فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ. Wherever you turn, you will see the face of God. So Liverpool definitely has it right. I saw him smiling, so Sheikh Taj would have liked it as well because he's not here. So next time someone says, your faith is weak, which is why you're going through this difficulty. If your faith was strong, you would trust in Allah more. You should stop complaining about it because God is going to take care of everything. Just be careful. Things are not black and white. Because even with Maryam, God does not tell her off for wishing for death. I mean, it's something really bad. Like, you can't wish for death like this. But God doesn't tell her off. Okay. I want to wrap things up. All right, so everyone has their test, their divine selections. We all struggle, but we all have different struggles. But sometimes it's interesting because we might be struggling with the same struggle, but because we don't talk to each other, we all think we're struggling in silos in our own, but actually we have a shared struggle. And if we spoke to each other, we'd be able to help each other through these struggles. So I think that's one of the things that I wanted to present was, let's talk to each other, right? Let's express how we are feeling, because then we can help each other. And maybe, who knows, if someone else has gone through what you've gone through, they can help you through that situation as well. It's not a punishment. It prepares you for your purpose. The whole point is we are here to fulfill a purpose, and hardships, difficulties are a part and parcel of that purpose. Turn to Allah through pain. Be honest in dua, be vulnerable. It's okay. If it's too hard, just tell Allah it's too hard. I think that's something that's really important, that you should be vulnerable and be comfortable to be vulnerable in front of God. Remember Allah constantly. So like I said, Allah is always with you. This famous verse, Allah bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub, the hearts will always find rest in the remembrance of God. So we are never alone. As we go through these difficulties, we know that Allah is present with us every single moment. What does Imam Hussein say when he presents Al-Yaskar? He says, the fact that you are watching makes it so much easier for me to bear this pain. It wasn't easy. It was hard. But the fact that God is there makes it easy. And then you go through different levels, and when you reach Lady Zainab, what does she say? Ma ra'aytu illa jamil. I see nothing but beauty. So even through the pain, she sees beauty. But that's a different level, a way higher level. Yeah, take small steps. Shake the palm tree, right? So one step at a time. We don't have to come out of the tunnel. We just have to take one step closer to the light. So we are in a dark place. One step. Every single step helps. Talking to people, all of these things that would help us to get out of other people, to get out of the situation. You don't have to solve the whole problem, but over time it will get solved, inshallah. All right, this is so important. I think this is probably one of the most important things that I want to present, and I'd like to, if you give me permission, I'd like to explain what I mean here. So, I strongly believe that each and every one of us is a guest of God in this world, for as long as we are breathing, because God is the one who sustains us. وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحٍ. It's God's breath who He put in us. So every breath we take, we are actually the guests of God. Not just in Ramadan, every single moment of our lives. كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ. Some mystics say that when God recreates creation every single moment. So when I move this from this, God is recreating that moment because he's actively involved. It's not like a builder in a building where God builds a building and he's distanced from it. No, it's like a think and a thought. God is constantly there. And if that's the case, then we are the guests of God at every single moment. Now, if we are the guests of God at every single moment, it is the job of the host to take care of the guest. So it's God's job. So that's why I'm saying you should be vulnerable, because if it's too hard, then you just tell God, look, I'm your guest. And it behooves of a host to make sure that the guest is comfortable. And if the guest is not comfortable, it's the host's job to make them comfortable. So, like I said, we're all guests. We're all partaking in this mercy of God. But then sometimes some people have a special status. So let's say Zeenat invites us to her house, let's say, for dinner, all of us, right? She's got a big house, big heart as well, and we all go to her house, and she invites us for dinner. So we're all there waiting to be served. But then Shabir just stands up and he helps Zeenat to put the food on the table. So he's still a guest as well. We're all guests, but it's not his food, it's Zeenat's food. So she's the host, but all he's doing is he's just helping to make our lives easier so we can all sit on the table and eat. And what I'm trying to say here is that because we are all guests of God, when we help a fellow guest of God, in the eyes of God, that person becomes special because he's making someone else's life easier. And to God, I think, he would look at that so favorably because he knows that. So for example, if I'm going through something difficult and I'm anxious, I'm struggling, but if I go out of my way to help someone, that is brownie points straight away, I think personally. Because God will see that despite my struggle, I'm helping someone else, I'm making another guest of his more comfortable, then God will make sure that my life becomes comfortable too. So I think this is really, really important. Find service through meaning, because, I mean, that's probably one of the best ways of serving God, is to serve his creation, serve his beloveds. Right? We're all the beloveds of God, right? So. Okay, so to close, I want to say that hardship is not a detour, it is the path. So it's not like once I get out of this difficulty, then my life will be easier. No, this is the path, this is the journey that you need to go through, we need to go through. The hardship is part and parcel, because the person we become at the end of that hardship is the person we are trying to strive towards. That's what God wants out of us. So it's there for a purpose. Pain isn't proof of God's absence, it is his invitation. Because if he didn't love us, he wouldn't give us pain. He wouldn't give us his difficulties in life. That's the whole point. So let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah grant us hearts that trust him in the storm, tongues that remember him in pain, and eyes that see his light in every darkness. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa alihi tayyibin at-tahirin. Salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All right, sorry, I've spoken for a bit, but I don't know if did I overstep my time? No, okay, perfect. Yeah, any questions, discussion, disagreements? Do you think I'm wrong? Comments? Happy with anything? Huh? Yeah, exactly, yeah. So you need to deliver now, right? I did my job. Yeah.
So don't worry if you're in pain. But then what next? So Allah actually provided some comfort like the date.
Yeah, shake the palm tree, yeah.
Sometimes we have difficulties, but we don't get those comforts. And so we might feel that, well, I do need to, but then you cover it in the next part of God, because people around us become those comforts. And they are sent by God.
Yeah, yeah.
So actually utilizing family, friends. So
Yeah.
that's actually the different streams.
Yeah, and they're sent by God. So God places people in our lives at the right moment, at the right place, because they were meant to be there. So He is the one who actually sends them to us. Yeah, and I think that's perfect, the perfect way of looking at it, because I think we become soundboards for each other, and yeah, we help each other across that. That's why it's really hard to go through things on your own. You have to have people. Very few people can go through things like this. Obviously, if Maryam's different, Musa is different because they were so connected to God that. But for the rest of us, I think we definitely need people, and that's why my aim here was to create this environment for people to be vulnerable to even talk about it, because people are scared to even, because I feel like, I don't know, in our community we judge a lot of people, and we tell them, oh, if someone commits suicide, the first question we ask is he going to heaven or hell? I mean, the first question would be, how did we let it happen in the first place? That's the question we need to ask. Not whether, that's not our job to ask whether it's heaven or hell. That's not my job to think about as well. It's about how did we let it happen in the first place. So yeah, I agree. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, yeah.
There's still something that happens. So God's going to send help our way. There's still an effort that has to come from us.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not just wait passively.
Yeah.
We have to be proactive to a certain extent, and then
Yeah.
utilize God's blessings to kind of.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, good you say that, because if I just go back 1 second, is this working? No. Bear with me. Musa. So, he made this dua, right? As soon as he made this dua, when they went back to their father, the father said, why don't you call Musa and I'll repay him. So God immediately answered his dua, his prayer, and the women came and tell Musa, go back to my father because he wants to reward you. What does Musa do? He accepts it immediately, right? He says, this is God sending me something. So rather than saying, oh no, I'm waiting for God to send me something, this is what God is doing. He's sending something to you, and sometimes it could be people as well. He sends the palm tree like with people, right? So you can shake the palm tree through people. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. So if opportunities come, that is God's way of relieving you. So take it. I think that's what I was trying to say. Yeah, but yeah. Thank you for your point. Yeah. Anyone else? Do you agree with my statement? I think mental and emotional pain is more painful than physical pain. I think in my personal life, I've found that to be so true. I don't know if anyone disagrees with that, or if you have a different experience. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. Experienced it. Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, sometimes it resonates, and that's why talking to other people, because when they've been through that problem, then you're not alone as well, right? You can. Yeah, I keep on coming back to that because I feel like that's what we need, like to create this environment to help people. I feel very passionate about this. Yeah, we should do something. Yeah. Yeah.
And secondly, things about serving people. I feel like in a society where people are becoming more and more selfish and self-centered, how can we practically, encourage people to keep,
Yeah.
and helping others? I'm not asking for like a, maybe something to think about.
Yeah. No. What was your first point again? I had a response for that. Yeah.
The first one was.
Oh yes. How do you encourage people? Yes, yes. So imagine you're going through something, right? And I come to you and I tell you, look at what I'm going through, right? I'm very vulnerable to you and I tell you what I'm going through. You feel comfortable by opening up to me because I've opened up to you. And that's how we build a rapport, right? So I think one of the ways to allow other people to be vulnerable is by us ourselves being vulnerable, because then we create that environment where people feel comfortable to share. Because I've shared, now other people feel like, okay, actually mine isn't that bad. He's in a much worse situation. You know, I can share as well. And I think that's yeah. And I think gatherings like this is you know, when you meet people and you know people get closer, you start I don't know, you start to get to know people personally. I think that really helps. Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel we worry about burdening other people with our problems as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
You know, oh, just get on with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone's got problems, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine I was going through something, and I felt like I wanted to come to you, but I felt like you would feel burdened. What would you say? Would you be burdened if I opened up to you? You wouldn't, right? I think it's always to other people, but actually, I'm sure all of us would be more than happy to open up, for you to open up to us. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, yeah. That's what I mean. When you're open, I think doors open up for everyone else when you're open. Your second question was how do you encourage people to be more, I don't know, to help. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You know, if let's say Hasnain is going through something difficult, and I go out of my way to help him out, and let's say, turn it around because I don't do. So let's say I'm going through something difficult, and Hasnain goes out of his way to help me out, and I'm not a person who really helps out. But next time I see Hasnain in difficulty, I will naturally be inclined to help him out because I've seen him going out of his way to help me. So I feel like a sense of gratitude. So sometimes we should do the work ourselves, and then I think when people notice it and they appreciate it, they themselves, even though they don't normally, they're more selfish, I think they would open up and want to contribute, I think. So I think the work comes from us first, and then, yeah. It takes time. I think it takes time, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. 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 It's interesting because I've thought about that before as well, because all of this is grounded in God. And to me, God gives us that purpose, the teleos, right, as Aristotle would call it. And if you take God out of the equation, then for me personally, there is nothing to work towards, right? There is the purpose is missing. Then the whole equation just falls apart, because God is holding that equation together, for my worldview, at least. So because I have work colleagues as well who've been through this situation, and I would really struggle to explain to them why they're going through something. But I think sometimes when people are going through something, all they want is someone to listen to them, to hear them out, just to make them feel like they're not alone, as in you are there to. So I think just being present with someone like that might be because you can't explain to them, oh, this is a test for you, because they won't believe it anyways, right? So I think just being present, hearing them out, just checking up on them, messaging them, I think that might that might help. But for me, God holds that equation together. If you remove God from the equation, the whole thing just falls apart. Yeah. So yeah, sorry if I couldn't answer the question because I'm struggling with that myself. But yeah, I don't know how. I don't know if anyone else has a response to that. Let me know when you need to end, by the way. Final questions, comments? No? Okay. Thank you very much.
Kumail, thank you so much. I think one of the indications of how a topic and a talk is received and the relevance of it is by the discussion that follows. So I think we can judge from there. So thank you so much. Refreshments will be in the conference room, and if you can just end with a Surah Fatiha for all marhumin. Fatiha.